Have you ever walked past a construction site and just wondered, what is going on here? Why has that building been stuck at the exact same stage for months? It feels like every big project is just destined to be late and definitely over budget. Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on that chaos and figure out why this happens all the time.
I mean, this is the million-dollar question, right? Or, more accurately, it's the multi-billion-dollar question. It's a frustration we've all felt, looking at delayed roads, delayed apartment buildings, well, everything. It seems like it should be so simple. You've got a plan, you build the thing. So where does it all go so wrong?
Well, the problem starts right here, with what's in our heads. We expect a straight line, a nice, neat, predictable process that goes from start to build to finish. But the reality of construction, it looks a lot more like a messy stop-and-start journey. You get delays, then these intense bursts of activity, then sudden halts, and then these painful periods of recovery. And here's the key. This isn't a failure. It's just the nature of the beast.
So the first and probably the most important step to understanding why projects get delayed is to completely throw out this idea of a smooth, straight-line process. It's a myth, and honestly, clinging to that myth is what sets so many projects up for failure right from day one.
Think about it this way. Progress isn't some constant, steady hum of activity. It's more like a rhythm. It comes in pulses. You get these intense flurries of very visible work, and then you get these quiet patches where it looks like nothing is happening at all. But in those quiet moments, critical and often totally invisible, things are getting sorted out behind the scenes. The real secret is learning how to manage these pulses, not trying to force them into a straight line that they were never meant to follow.
Okay, so if progress isn't a line, what is it? It's a web, a really complex, tangled web of dependencies where pulling on just one tiny thread can knot up the entire system. So let's dive in and take a look at the threads that create these massive tangles.
This is a perfect example of the cascade effect in action. It all starts with something that seems so small. Let's say a client changes their mind about the type of windows they want. That one single decision creates ripples. The new windows have to be ordered, which delays the delivery. And because the windows aren't installed on time, the exterior walls can't be closed up, which means you miss your scheduled electrical inspection. And just like that, one simple choice has pushed the entire project back by weeks, maybe even months.
And that cascade effect we just talked about, it's usually driven by these four big tangles. First, you've got the bureaucratic nightmare of getting permits from a bunch of different agencies. Then, there's the rigid sequence of inspections. If one fails, everything after it grinds to a halt. We've got the late design changes, which we just saw, and then there's the big one, the one that causes so much heartache, long lead items.
So, what in the world are these mysterious long lead items, or LLIs? Well, just think of all the stuff that isn't sitting on a shelf at your local hardware store. We're talking custom elevators, specialized HVAC systems, unique facade panels for the outside of the building. These things have lead times that are measured in months, not weeks. They are literally the pacemakers of a project. If your custom elevator's 3 months late, guess what? Your project is, at a minimum, 3 months late. Period. They dictate the tempo more than almost anything else.
Okay, so that's all the planning and dependency stuff. But what happens when you actually start building? Well, that's when you enter what's known as the messy middle. It's where the on-site complexity just explodes and a whole new set of variables come into play.
45%. I just want you to look at that number for a second. In our modern, high-tech world of construction, what do you think that number represents?
It is the percentage of projects that are still disrupted by the weather. It's kind of hard to believe, right? With all our advanced technology and forecasting, nearly half of all projects on the planet get knocked off course by something as basic as heat, rain, or wind. It just goes to show you how vulnerable that messy middle really is.
And the weather isn't the only known surprise. You can't just snap your fingers and hire more workers to catch up. Skilled labor is a global constraint. Supply chains have become so volatile that a standard part can suddenly become an unexpected long lead item overnight. And then there's the infamous final 10% of the project.
This quote says it all. This is the final 10% trap. The building looks finished. The paint's on the walls, the floors are in, but you are at a dead standstill. Why? Because you can't get that final plumbing inspection signed off, which means the utility company won't set the water meter. Until those last pieces of paper are signed, the building is totally unusable. It's 0% complete to the person who actually wants to move in.
So, this all sounds pretty chaotic and frankly, a little hopeless, doesn't it?
But here's the good news. The best, the highest performing teams in the world, they don't just survive this mess, they master it. So let's pivot away from the problems and take a look at their playbook. So this is it. This is the fundamental mindset shift. The absolute best teams stop trying to force reality into some perfect straight-line plan. Instead, they just accept that things will go wrong. They assume delays are normal, and so they design their entire project management system around one core idea. How do we maintain flow, and how do we recover, quickly and consistently?
Okay, so the first tool in the playbook is something called the S-curve. It's a visual model that accepts the natural rhythm of a project. Progress is slow at the start, it accelerates rapidly in the middle, and then it slows down again at the end. By plotting their actual progress against this planned curve, top teams get this incredibly powerful early warning if they're starting to slip, long before a traditional schedule would ever raise a red flag.
The second tool is called the Last Planner System. Now, this is a huge shift. Instead of a project manager just handing down a schedule from an office somewhere, this system brings the people who are actually doing the work, the foreman on site, into the planning process. They're the ones who can identify and remove roadblocks before they stop the work. It's all about making reliable, short-term promises to each other.
And the playbook goes even deeper. The pros use strategic time buffers at critical points to protect the entire project, instead of just padding every single task. They use powerful risk analysis simulations to set realistic deadlines from the very beginning. And they treat buying materials as a core, strategic part of the schedule itself, not just some back-office paperwork.
So, as we bring this all together, the core message really starts to become clear. The goal in these super complex projects isn't to create a perfect plan that magically avoids every problem. That's impossible. The real goal is to master the art of the response.
And this right here, this is the central idea. If you take just one thing away today, let it be this. Good teams don't hope for a smooth ride. They expect the bumps in the road, they build systems to protect the project's momentum, and they have a plan to get back on track every single time something goes wrong. It's about resilience, not perfection.
This really puts it in black and white. The old failing mindset is that any delay means the plan was a failure. The new successful mindset is that a truly perfect plan is one that anticipates delays and already has a robust system for recovery built right in. It's a profound shift, moving from being constantly reactive to being proactively resilient.
So, the cure for all this chronic lateness and the crazy budget overruns, it isn't some new piece of software or a magic bullet. It's disciplined planning. It's planning that accepts reality, that relentlessly hunts down and makes roadblocks visible to everyone, and that prioritizes a reliable, steady flow of work over the illusion of just frantic activity. And that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. What if we've been measuring success all wrong? What if the hallmark of a truly great project isn't that it followed the plan perfectly, but that it demonstrated a true mastery of recovery in the face of inevitable chaos?